Hey guys, welcome back. It's Matteo. I'm very happy to be back on the channel. I'm sorry if I've been off in these months, but a lot has changed into my life. Probably you read from the title. And yeah, so today I'm here with a clear mind to tell with you guys what I've gone through in these months and yeah, what I've done and successes, failures. Yeah, how basically I managed to change my life, change career, change location and moving abroad. As you guys knew, I am from Milan, Italy, and I was working in a fintech startup here in Italy. But what happened was that it was June probably of this year, I came to the realization that I really want to move abroad to have a work experience abroad, right? Because I felt it was the perfect age. I'm 24. Yeah, I told myself it's the time to do this. Otherwise, you may regret it in the future, right? That was the moment when I realized I really want to make this change in changing the location and have a new life experience. So yeah, 4 or 5 months ago, I had this realization. And from there, I had to take action and do all the steps necessary to get this change because it doesn't happen like this, right? You need to do everything necessary to basically create the life that you want. So the first essential thing to move abroad for me was finding a job that could match my interest, passion, and overall something that I could be good at. And yeah, so the first part, and probably the part that took me the most amount of time for this change was, the change in career. And to do so, I had basically to do a lot of research and both external research, so on what the market was offering, and also reflecting on myself, on what I felt it was right for me. And because taking career choices is not easy. Yeah, so I needed time to think what could have been the best for me and then go through the application process. As said, the primary thing was finding a job that I really that I could match my passions. My second condition was to move in a city that I really liked because I didn't want to move abroad per se, right? So I really wanted to go somewhere where I felt I could live well and yeah. So in my radar of choices, I wanted to stay in Europe, and especially I was looking into two cities. On the one hand, Vienna, and on the other hand, Munich in Germany. So Vienna, Austria, and Munich, Germany. Two cities in the DACH area, so Deutschland, Austria, and Switzerland. I didn't consider Zurich because it seemed like a kind of boring city, to be honest, in your 20s. And I felt Vienna and Munich were the right cities for me. I've been there twice in both two cities as a tourist. I really love Vienna, for example, amazing city to live in. And it also ranks every year as the most livable city of the world. So yeah, it has been one of the top performers every year for quality of living. And also Munich is probably one of the best places to live in Germany. And besides that, I really liked about the two cities that they are super efficient. They are very clean and organized and also very safe and as well very, very young. So there are a lot of students there, a lot of young professionals. So two cities in Europe where I felt I could live in. These cities require German, of course. I'm learning it. I have a basis of German, but I'm still learning the language. So yeah, that was kind of a challenge because looking for jobs in the two cities, I mean, some of them require proficiency in German, which currently I do not have. But I'm willing to learn German fast, and so I'm doing my best to do so. Probably get my surname is not Italian, but it's German. So I also wanted to get my German heritage back, and so yeah, that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go in one of the two cities and find a company and job that could match my interests and passions. At first, I was really into Vienna, so I was like doing, I'd say 80% of my research in Vienna. Taking some time to reflect on my interests, I said to myself that I wanted to work in tech. Okay. And so, having worked 2.5 years in a fintech startup in the crypto industry here in Italy, there was a kind of obvious choice in Vienna, a major crypto company that I'm not going to name, but you can figure it out very easily. And so I directly applied there because it seemed like the right company for me also, because I've already worked in crypto fintech, and this is a kind of scale up. And so what I did essentially, I reached out to the company directly to people inside the company via LinkedIn, I'd say, and I was trying to basically get a sense on how it was working there at the company, and also talking with HRs and recruiters to see if there were opportunities matching my skills. And I managed to have 2 to 3 interviews with managers there that went quite well. But what happened was that unfortunately there were not, in the summer, open positions for me. So yeah, I mean, managers liked me, but there were not open positions in marketing, sales, or other areas that I was interested in. So timeline-wise, we are now in July, I'd say the first part of July, because the first month I said I was dedicating myself to search in Vienna and applying especially to this company. After I realized that there were no opportunities for me in this company, I decided to broaden my search criteria for companies. But what I discovered is that unfortunately Vienna doesn't have a lot of tech going on, right? I love the city, it's an amazing city, but however, I also talk with professionals working in consulting and banking in Vienna, and they were telling me that there's not lots of tech going on. And that was quite sad to me, because like the city has so much to offer. I know they are ramping up on their venture capital and tech startups in the city, but there are very few tech companies to work for compared to other European cities, of course. Vienna didn't find much, unfortunately. I then pivoted into searching for opportunities in Munich. And I discovered that Munich has a quite vibrant job market. There are lots of tech companies there. In Munich, you can find literally Google, Oracle, Amazon, IBM, Salesforce. So essentially all the major tech companies worldwide have an office in Munich and have a strong presence there. And so that was a good discover for me. And so I noticed that in Munich there was quite a vibrant job market, and there were some positions open, my skills and personality. And so I said, in Munich there are opportunities, there are lots of companies, cool companies to work for, but now I have to figure out exactly what kind of job I want to pursue, what kind of area of the company I would like to work at. And that required time for myself, because I tried to find my ikigai, as some people call this. So something that I was passionate about, naturally good at, also something that there was something I was passionate about, naturally good at, and something that I believed in. So I took some time for myself. And what I realized was that I have been always passionate about sales. I'm saying this because, as I said, when I was taking time for myself to really understand my passions and what drove me in my previous work experience, both in the startup, in my small entrepreneurship experience that I haven't yet talked about in this channel, but I will share with you guys what small businesses I've started in the past years, what I was enjoying while I was a kid. And so I realized that sales has been with me since I was a little kid. So when I was, for example, a little kid, I was selling my paintings to my grandmother. She was my first client when I was like 5 years old. Like my small, very small paintings, very, very easy, right? I transitioned into, I was still a kid selling a trading cards game at kids' fairs during the summer. So I was selling Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon cards, like you name it. The trading card games. Then later on, when I was a teenager, I started my first business, and it all started with making sales at expo fairs. Then built a small clothing brand, ran an agency. Like everything that I did and that fulfilled me started with sales. And like the fulfillment you get when you can make a sale, especially when you create something and you are able to make a sale of what you have created, is something that really stuck with me. And so I discovered like a true passion for sales. And also, more important, I understood that sales was for me, but I had to figure out if this was something required from the market, right? Because if the market doesn't need salespeople, then there's no sense to pursue this career. And I realized that these tech giants, so Google, Amazon, IBM, Salesforce, Oracle, they all had a very, very big sales team worldwide, sales team working worldwide, and they were hiring lots of salespeople even during the summer, which is probably summer is probably not the best time to look for jobs because it's not as dynamic as other months, but there were quite some sales job positions. And yeah, so I discovered that sales was required from the market. And it was something that these tech giants were looking for and hiring for. I said, okay, let's apply for sales position. Also understand how these sales team were structured. This depends on what you are doing, but essentially there are multiple positions from business development to account executive to sales managers. So like a bunch of sales position for these companies. And as a sales guy, you're basically selling to other businesses for these tech giants. So it's a kind of B2B sales world. So looking at tech companies in Munich for sales role, I started applying to Google and Amazon together. From Google, I got rejected. And from Amazon, I first got rejected on one position. But then I discovered that Amazon didn't have just the e-commerce, as we say in Munich, as offices, but also had AWS as an office in Munich. Quite big office for AWS in Munich. AWS, for the ones who don't know, stands for Amazon Web Services, which is the cloud division, or it's a company by itself under Amazon that provides B2B cloud solutions to other businesses. It's the worldwide market leader for cloud computing. And so it's a really tech giant, AWS. And especially if you research about it, compared to Amazon, AWS is way more profitable. And yeah, so it's the most profitable part and business in Amazon. And without AWS, the e-commerce as we know now wouldn't have been the same. So AWS is extremely important in the tech world, and direct competitors of AWS are, for example, Google Cloud, Azure from Microsoft. So we're talking about cloud computing. And I also discovered that these cloud computing companies have huge sales team, like literally big sales team, because essentially they need to sell the cloud to all the companies in the world, right? Nowadays, I don't know the exact number, but so businesses essentially do not need on-premises hardware in their offices, but they can run via the cloud, right? And so AWS, tech giant, huge sales team worldwide, and the cloud computing market also is growing double digits every year. So it's a market that is continuing to grow and is expected to do so. And so I saw an opportunity for AWS because I felt I could really learn sales inside this company. Has had a huge sales team and offers a very wide range of training for sales position. They are market leader in the cloud computing space and very profitable industry and also growing industry. So all these parameters resonated with what I was looking for. I'm always been an Amazon fan, and I felt that AWS was the perfect division for me. And after being rejected from Google Munich office, which I discovered was kind of more senior roles, because young people they all go to Dublin, which is the European headquarters. I applied to a couple positions in AWS, and eventually I managed to go on with the other steps of the application process for one position. And so it was a kind of long and hard process. I'm not gonna lie, guys, getting to AWS is not easy. I had to endure for 3 months because I applied. It was mid-July, and I eventually got an offer, confirmed everything basically in October, right? So it took kind of 3 months. And along the way, I had to do one online test for one behavioral test online, plus a total of 6 interviews with 6 different people of AWS. It was a really long and hard process, but definitely worth it, guys. I'm super excited to start working in sales in AWS. As you can see, I'm still in my studio where I record content here in Milan because I'll be moving in Munich in a few days. And so, yeah, guys, I'm super excited to start this opportunity. and very grateful also to have been given this opportunity. But guys, I worked hard for this. I really took action on what it was necessary to make this thing happen, right? But going back to sales also convinced me that sales was the right thing for me at the moment. Is that besides the fact that these companies, these tech giants need sales guys, I also came to the point that at the end of the day, every single business needs sales. Like without sales, you don't have a business. You may have an amazing product, but if you're not able to sell it, well, you don't have a business. You may have the perfect strategy, right? If you also think about companies, let's think about consulting companies, right? They are all very good at strategy, but at the end of the day, if they don't get deals, so if the partners of those companies don't get sales, well, there are no project to work on, right? So everything starts with sales. If you think also about people working in the financial industry, so let's say investing in companies, etc. At the end of the day, you are investing in companies, and those companies to perform well, they need sales, and they need continuously to increase their sales in order to do better and better in the future. So I came to the point that sales is an underrated skill, but it's the number one skill in my opinion. You need to master if you want to become a successful businessman, right? And so I felt that if I had the opportunity to really master sales in an environment that is one of the best in the world, like AWS, well, this will really help me in my career and in all the projects I'll be doing. This is a consideration apart from all my internal reasoning for sales. But yeah, I guess sales is a underrated skill, but it makes like a whole difference. Like if you really can close clients, close prospects, like you really have an edge on this market, and it's something that it's difficult to replace with the AI, right? It's something that companies will all need because this kind of B2B sales requires human interaction, right? Well, I wanted to do, guys, an in-depth video on sales and why I think it's the number one skill to have in the modern era to succeed in business. But yeah, there was something that I wanted to share with you guys. But yeah, please let me know your opinions in the comments below. And so another thing that I wanted to share with you guys. So as soon as I got the offer for AWS, was sure that I was gonna move to Munich, right? And what is the first thing you need when you move to a new city or a new country? You need an apartment. And guys, I'll tell you, like finding an apartment in Munich, Germany is like crazy difficult. I was reading online how difficult it is getting an apartment in Munich, but I didn't expect it to be so hard, guys. Especially for someone who doesn't master German yet. Like getting an apartment is it's insanely difficult. And let me tell you guys, so I come from Milan, and Milan is the most competitive real estate market in Italy. It has a super high demand. Apartments go away very fast, and getting an apartment in Milan is not easy, right? Milan has approximately the same population of Munich. So this is to say that the demand in Milan is very similar compared to the one in Munich. And I believe in Munich is even higher because Munich has higher prices, but has some kind of events that drive like millions of people to Munich, for example, Oktoberfest, and same amount of people in the two cities. Milan is extremely competitive, especially for someone coming from abroad. And if you look at immobiliare.it, which is the number one website in Italy to look for apartments for sale and for rent, you'll now find approximately in Milan 12,000 listings for rent, right? Without any kind of filters. Like this is, I want to demonstrate you guys how from a supply and demand standpoint is so much harder to get an apartment in Munich rather than in Milan. And Milan is still very difficult to get an apartment, right? So I was saying, essentially, if you look for apartments listings for rent on immobiliare.it, the number one website in Italy for rent and sale of real estate, you'll find approximately 12,000 listings, which is a pretty decent offer, right? And you can call real estate agencies to see apartments and basically have a real estate agent maybe help you find the solution you want. Whereas in Munich, guys, I'm gonna tell you. So if you look on immoscout.de, which is the number one website in Germany for real estate, so comparable to immobiliare.it in Italy, you'll find in Munich listing for rent approximately 1.2, 1.3k apartments for rent without any filters. So guys, do you realize this is 10 times less the supply in Munich rather than in Milan, with a demand which is very comparable, and I think in Munich is a bit higher than Milan. So same demand, even higher in Munich, but supplied 10 times less in Munich, 10 times less. So this made me realize, as I come with a economic background, and I've worked in the financial markets, like finding an apartment in the traditional way using websites is, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's super difficult for someone coming from abroad. And the other crazy thing is that on ImmoScout, you don't find, I wasn't able to find telephone numbers of, I'd say 95% of the listings. So you couldn't even call the landlord, right? Because I realized that in Germany, most of the listings, especially in Munich, are coming from private people. So they don't hire, most of them, real estate agents, because there's a different mechanism from Italy. So most of the people are private individuals listing their apartment. And I trust, and I understand you guys, landlords, that you don't want to put your phone number, not because you don't want to get bombarded from hundreds of people, thousands of people for one apartment. So I completely understand. But yeah, so you couldn't even call, right? I had to compete, so messaging via the ImmoScout portal to get an apartment with hundreds of people applying for the same apartment. I quickly understood that this approach wouldn't work. But I don't understand why this is the approach that everybody suggests, right? Everybody's saying go on immoscout.de, go on WG Gesucht, and WG Gesucht is it's a place where you can find a room, so to find a shared apartment, basically. And I was looking for a shared apartment too, but the problem was also in WG Gesucht, the supply, guys. If you look for apartments on WG Gesucht, like rooms available in Munich, there's no supply, guys. There are no rooms. So probably for the same room, the applicants are probably hundreds, right? So you can't compete there. It's you're gonna lose there, right? Yeah, probably if you apply to thousands of listings, but there are not thousands of listings. That's what I'm saying. So you can't even play the numbers game, right? So it's even difficult to play the numbers game because there are not many apartments to apply to, right? So that's what everybody is suggesting. So guys, if you have a suggestion on how to use ImmoScout or WG Gesucht, please leave it in the commentar. But yeah, because to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense in Munich. So what I quickly realized was that I needed to focus 100% of my energies on something different, on something where I could have an edge. So as said, on ImmoScout and WG Gesucht, I think I cannot have any kind of edge there. So something that other people are not doing. I was even paying for I also paid 120 euros for 6 months of the premium account on immoscout.de, but everybody seems to have it. It's like a prerequisite to even start your ImmoScout journey. So that's not an edge. Having the plus account on ImmoScout for Munich is not an edge, guys. Come on. So you have to go other ways. And the only other way that I think is the best one is try to go via connections. So, and I'm telling you guys that I'm starting in Munich from zero, okay? Because all my social circle and all the people I know are in Italy, okay? So I do not have connections. I didn't have connections in Munich. So I quickly realized that I needed to focus 100% of my energies to try to build a network without being in the city yet, and ask friends of friends of friends if someone could help out with finding an apartment process, right? Because eventually you'll realize that even if you don't have direct connections in the city, for example, I didn't have any direct connection in the city, with multiple degrees of separation, you'll end up knowing someone who is in the city and may help you. And using this approach, so reaching out to friends of friends of friends, I was able to have 2 opportunities for an apartment, 2 very nice apartments, and I was able to close one of them. And why I'm telling you guys to try this method because these kind of deals that I have been granted access to weren't didn't hit the market yet. So I call these kind of deals over-the-counter deals because they do not appear in the market. Essentially, those two listings were not on ImmoScout yet, were not on WGSucht yet, right? And so there I could have an edge because I was applying as one of the first people. It's like when it's similar to, for example, investors in the Web3 market invest in pre-sale of the token. They have early access to investing opportunities and they access it before it comes public. Like it's something similar. So I like to call these opportunities OTC deals because opportunities that do not hit the market. And so I was able to, via multiple degrees of separation, to access a couple of these. And essentially I was able to close one of those. And that's how I got my apartment in Munich. I felt very lucky. I'm not gonna lie. I think I also took action on the right way when I realized like I was wasting time on ImmoScout and WGSucht. Literally, I was wasting days there. No edge there, no opportunities, competing with too many applicants, and as I think I'm quite good relating with people and getting in touch, I felt going the connections way was the way to go, even if I didn't have a direct connection there. So yeah, guys, if you want an in-depth video on how to find an apartment in Munich, if you're looking some, please let me know and I'll make a video. And yeah, guys, so this is what has happened in these months, and I'm super excited to move to Munich and to start my new work experience there in sales. And if I have to think about one key lessons that I learned in these months was essentially to take a little time, not too much, but take some time to reflect on yourself and really try to find out what you want out of life. Like everyone has its own dreams and aspirations, and so take time to reflect on those and also to understand your ikigai, so your passions, what you're good at and where you see yourself thrive. But then I'd say like the 90% of the part is taking action to make your dreams come true. So in my case was applying, getting rejected, and ultimately going through all the 3 months of interviews and bureaucracy and whatever was needed to get this opportunity, for example, at AWS, getting like also taking action on the thing that made the most sense for me to find an apartment in Munich, doing like whatever was needed to make the dream that you want come true. So don't think too much, but act now. That's my takeaway. Building your dreams. So I hope you guys like the kind of raw content where I'm talking to the camera, like without too much editing. And yeah, if you like this kind of content, I'll do more. And guys, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. And on to the next video.